Kremlin's worst nightmare has come true. The Wagner group has staged a mutiny. It has turned against the Russian army, and it has taken control of an army command in the southwestern city of Rostov-on-Don. The rebellion began with a series of video messages by the mercenary group's commander, Yevgeny Prigozhin. He accused the Russian army of attacking his forces and vowed to seek revenge from his enemies. Listen to this first.
We are at the Rostov military headquarters. It's 7:30 a.m. We have taken Rostov's military objects under control, including an airfield. The jets which are leaving for battle with Ukraine are moving as scheduled. There are no issues. Medical planes are taking off. There are no problems. We have taken all of it under control so that the air forces conduct strikes not against us but against the Ukrainians. The main operational headquarters is functioning in the usual way. There are no issues. Not a single office is being distracted. So when you are told that Wagner PMC has interfered with some operations, that something has collapsed on the front lines, we are not the reason for that collapse.
And have a look at these visuals now. These are Wagner mercenaries keeping a watch in Rostov-on-Don. They are patrolling the streets with guns, tanks, and other military vehicles, preparing for a possible strike by the Russian army. This is a turn of events we knew was coming, but no one expected it to happen so soon. The question now is, what led to this? Why did the Wagner chief stage this revolt? It all began with Prigozhin openly accusing Russia's military of attacking a Wagner camp and killing a huge number of his men. He vowed to retaliate with force, in a way insinuating that his forces would destroy any resistance, including roadblocks and aircraft. And that's not all, by the way. A few hours later, he released a video statement saying that the official Kremlin-backed version of why Moscow started its quote-unquote special military operation against Ukraine was based on lies concocted by his perennial adversary, the Russian army's top brass. Listen to this.
Why was the war needed? The war was needed so that a handful of scumbags could have a blast and get PR attention showing how strong the army is, so that Shoigu could become a marshal, and that decree was ready by then, so he could get a second hero star, because he really wanted to become part of the Russian history as a great Tuva national, twice hero of Russia, and a marshal basically during peacetime. The war was needed not in order to return the Russian citizens to our bosom, and not in order to demilitarize and denazify Ukraine. It was needed for one star with additional embroidery, so that one mentally sick man could look good on a coffin pillow.
Now, I just want to stress on a few lines that he stated there. The war was needed so that a handful could have a blast, so that they could get PR attention showing how strong the army is. Now, these are big statements, big enough to spark more mutinies within Russia's ranks. And the question is, what is Moscow going to do about this? Well, the Russian president delivered an address earlier today. He called the Wagner group's actions an armed mutiny, adding that anyone taking up arms against the state would be punished. Not just that, he said he would do everything to protect Russia, and that quote-unquote decisive action would be taken to stabilize the situation in Rostov-on-Don. Listen to this now.
I repeat, any internal turmoil is a mortal threat to our statehood, to us as a nation. This is a blow to Russia, to our people. The actions we will take to protect our homeland from such a threat will be harsh. All those who consciously chose the path of betrayal, who prepared an armed mutiny, who chose the path of blackmail and terrorism, will suffer an inevitable punishment, will answer both before the law and our people.
And immediately after this statement, armed police were seen at the Wagner Center in St. Petersburg. There is no word on how many officials of the agency have been detained. And back in Rostov-on-Don, the traffic has come to a standstill. The main highway to the city stands blocked. A large number of vehicles are standing still, not being able to drive north in Moscow's direction. Meanwhile, the Russian Defense Ministry has issued this statement. It has asked the Wagner fighters to abandon their chief, telling them that they had been deceived and dragged into a criminal adventure. And last we checked, none of the mercenaries had abandoned their commanders. In fact, the group is threatening to march towards Moscow if their demands are not met. And this begs the question, is this turning Russia, a superpower, into Sudan? Remember, Sudan has been mired by an internal conflict. There are two warring sides here. One is fighting on the behalf of the government, and the other is fighting for a rebel group. Are we going to witness a rerun of that in Russia? This story is still developing, and we will be tracking it very closely. WION now available in your country. Download the app now. Get all the updates on the move.